It's filled with mastercrafted. And guess what? One of my favorite factions has finally gotten their initial hype release. The Genestealer cult. We've been shown what they're going to look like potentially at the very start of 11th edition. It looks like we're going to get 3 new detachments as of right now. Obviously, there's more that can come out later, but I just wanted to talk about them because I'm really excited because I like new stuff and the new detachment management system in terms of how that's going to look. It's going to be very interesting and it's going to allow a lot of flexibility in terms of how we play the game. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I thought, what better way to actually come on? We could talk about Genestealer Cult. We could talk about how the cult's going to rise in 11th edition, and you and I could break it down together. So right off the bat, I will say my initial reaction is really like this, mainly because all of these are 1 detachment points. So these out, that gives us a lot of flexibility. It gives us a lot of tools. I don't think any of our detachments are good enough to be 3. That just come right out with it, unless there's some significant changes or anything like that. I think the majority of them are going to be 2, which is fantastic for us. It means that we have more flexibility, and really all I'm waiting for next is these detachments to get fleshed out, and then I need to see the primary and secondary missions. I need to see how those are going to interact with you and your opponent, because obviously that's going to be unique for every mission, and I need to know what primary missions are attached to which detachments and how that decision is going to be made going forward. So um yeah. So killer reputation, heroes of the uprising. This is for the killer model, which is a new tool or a new name that they're going to use for Kellamorphs, Locusts, Reductus Saboteurs, and Sanctus. Now, if you've seen any of the lists that I've played to any of the GTs, tournaments, LVTT, I've run Genestealer Cult a lot, and I feel very comfortable with them. You will know that I run a lot of these characters. I do run a lot of the Reductus Saboteurs. They're one of my favorite models in the Genestealer Cult army. They are so efficient for what they do. And if you tell me that they do something better, awesome. Kellamorphs, they used to be the hotness in 9th edition. They definitely are not nearly as much so, but with rerolls on both sides, it does make them a lot more efficient. And I like the Kellamorphs. I like the precision. I like the tool. Sanctus are great. Turn off Overwatch used to be a thing. Obviously, that's going to change. I'm very curious what that's going to look like going forward. But for a 1 detachment point detachment, this can be okay, especially if you're running a lot of characters. So like my first thought is in like my Outlander Claw would be I'm running a lot of these characters and I would probably very much appreciate some efficiency in their rerolls. Loctus Sanctus getting +1 damage. Now, do I think this is good? Yes, +1 damage is very nice. Obviously, it depends on the points, but I don't think you could go wrong with this, especially with like a Precision Sanctus to get in there with the knife and cut up some characters and kind of fight out some of these very important characters, especially with fights first changing dramatically and not necessarily having to worry about your character getting punked. Those precision abilities are going to be even better as long as they hang around in the same aspect that they are now. I mean, they did chose a strat for this attachment, which is your shooting phase or fight phase when a friendly killer unit has attacked. If those attacks destroyed an enemy unit or an enemy character model. I like the fact that they gave the distinction. Each visible friendly battle shocked unit within 12 units is no longer battle shocked. Obviously, GW keeps trying this. Obviously, GW has tried to make Battle Shock a real mechanic, and there will be more significant things in 11th edition as we go forward because Battle Shock will now stay. Right? If you get battle shocked in your phase, you don't just automatically fall out of it. If you're above 50%, you will still have to roll a battle shock. Is this the best thing in the world? My initial thought is no. It's nice, it's cute, it's beneficial. I need to see the other stratagems because this doesn't speak to me in a very strong way. But this is like, think of this like a support detachment. The 1 to DP detachments are support detachments. So what is it going to make your list better doing? So for example, if you were running like Host of Ascension, and you have these big 20-man bricks, right? And you get them all out on the board and you take a bunch of battle shocks. So now you can't be eligible to be targeted by stratagems. Something like this could be really beneficial where you unbattle shock a bunch of things. Now I can target them with stratagems. Now my list can go off, right? And I'm not negatively affected because for GSC specifically, our leadership isn't necessarily great. So we can fail battle shocks very easy, especially with some of these bigger units. So, yep, first one off the bat. It's okay. It's cute. I like the rerolls on both sides. And it could be a reason why I take this detachment entirely. I just want the reroll ones for all the Kellamorphs and Sanctuses and Reductuses that I would run in the 2,000 point list. All right. This is like pure strain brute swarm. This has got the sauce, guys. All right. to break it down for you, I love pure strains. I think they're good in every detachment I've ever run. They're good in host. They're good in Outlander Claw. They're good in Xeno. They're good in Final Day. Like there's not a world where I would be upset taking pure strains and Biosanctic, obviously. This just makes it better. So at the end of your opponent's fight phase, friendly unengaged pure strain Genestealers units can be placed in Strat Reserve. And then this detachment is pure strain tag and cannot be taken with other pure strain detachment. We don't know the other detachments that have the pure strain detachment rule. My initial thought was like, yeah, okay, you put it on the Biosanctic one and you call that the pure strain detachment, but that's not the identity of Biosanctic, I don't think. It wouldn't shock me to see it on there. It would kind of be kind of annoying because I really want this in in Biosanctic. I want upbeats down Genestealers in Biosanctic on top of all the things that list can do. Like I'm already salivating at the idea of uppy down pure strains with all the aberrants, with all the tools that detachment already has. Yeah, like right off the bat, I'm eyeing this one specifically. My Genestealers are ready. I have about 40 all painted up, ready to go. So yes, we will see. We did see an enhancement, +1 toughness for a base save, which is nice, and then most importantly, +1 strength. Right, this unit getting +1 strength is huge. Like your 10-man with a Patriarch and 10 Pure Strains, or even 5. I like the 5 Pure Strains with a Patriarch. One of my good friends, Patrick Love, who's a very good GSC player, kind of put me on to them, where it's like, look, a lot of the times the 5-man with Patriarch, I'm just looking to trade into an asset that's out on the board that is like Scouts or, JPI or Flayed Ones or like Void Weavers, whatever trading piece my opponent initially has that's just a little bit tougher than what a normal 5-man pure strength Genestealers can deal with. Like that's what the Patriarch is for. And him with a 5-man can, with 2 damage, is usually enough. They'll rip down small transports, but if you give them +1 toughness, so they'll go to T5 and a 4 base save, and now they have +1 strength. Like I like this. I like this a lot. As long as the cost isn't too inhibitive, I'm very much sold on this being a 1 detachment point detachment. Already love it. And then the last one, obviously, this is going to be a new mechanic for 11th edition. Crawling Horror, start of your opponent's movement phase, 1 PSG unit. It has -6 to its detection range until the end of the turn. Great. These units we can hide better. It makes sense. It is relatively thematic. Like they should be hiding in crawl spaces and they should be hiding in camouflage, right? So -6 to their detection range. I like it. I think it's good. But we will see in like detection range as a whole, it's only going to be good depending on what the meta looks like. So like you have any of this detection range stuff, you have to pre-measure. Like I'm only making this decision to spend this strat if I'm like, okay, well, I know you can get within detection range if I don't spend it, but if I do spend it, nothing can get within detection range of me. It makes it very, very good. But it puts a little bit more work on you as a player to identify what actually can get within range and what can't, and then what the strat can do. So working with your opponent is really important for what the detachment range metric looks like. Okay, pure strain attachment. What is pure strain brood swarm? That's a thumbs up. We are hot on that one. I just need to know what it can go with, because if it can go with Biosanctic, it's going with Biosanctic. If it can go with Final Day, great, it's going with Final Day. Because I already run 5-mans in there anyways. You're telling me I can up you down them on top of the one that I can already up you down in Final Day? Sold. Very much sold. All right, the last one that was shown is the Xenocult Masses. This is a host detachment, so I assume Host of Ascension, you can't take it, but it is very nice. The reason is because you have something that Genestealer Cult don't usually get in their detachments, which is a defensive buff. We'll get there in a second, but this detachment rule, so a friendly neophyte unit within terrain, it heals 3 wounds, so could bring back 3 models. And then on top of that, you have the banner heal as well, as long as that stays, which I don't expect it to change significantly. So you could bring back quite a few models, 3 plus D3 plus 3, like that could be very nice in terms of recursion back onto an objective. We don't 100% know what that's going to look like. I expect that the recursion mechanic will stay the same. They don't want to go back to us chaining out a 20-man of neophytes back out onto an objective. I would expect that it stays the same. This happens during your command phase. Any kind of recursion is good for me. There's a lot of worlds where if you're running enough neophytes, that this definitely is worth it. The next one is not as impactful. This is an enhancement, so it's going to be on a unit permanently. It's -3 to a detection range. That feels too short. The -6 one felt okay. The -3 one, I don't know if I'm willing to pay for that. Maybe if I have extra points and that's what the cost is, fine. This enhancement doesn't necessarily stand out to me, but this stratagem does. So, your opponent's shooting phase, when an enemy unit targets neophytes, with every model within its terrain area. That is significant. It doesn't say wholly within. And I know everyone's watching the games today that you can tow on and see through. So, I could maybe tow on a line of neophytes, and then I would be able to use this stratagem. It's -1 AP. It's AOC, but for the cult. This can be very, very beneficial. On top of -1 to hit, on top of, if we have a way to give them stealth or do anything like that, -1 AP, I will always take that. I don't think there's a world where 11th edition is going to make AP so strong that -1 AP means nothing. Yeah, I like it. I really like it. And then right here, it says at the bottom, each of these detachments here are just one detachment point. So we have some tools. We have some capabilities. We can run this with a lot of stuff. It's just a matter of GW. Hey, give me the rest of the rules. I want a list plan right now. And I will say, as much as I would love to have early access to this mastercrafted, we don't get the early rules. And we are enjoying this at the same speed that y'all are, which is good. It means that we can experience all these things together and give our thoughts and ideas, because yeah, who knows. But off the bat, my fellow cult friends, I would say, do not be disheartened. The cult will rise again in 11th edition. I really, really like this initial 3 detachments. I love the fact that they're one detachment point, and I think that's where Genestealer cult should live. We should live in the secondary game, primary scoring, and then if just give me the tools, give me the flexibility. I want to be able to run like 3 detachments, all one detachment point, and do something really cool and really unique with an army that I think has a lot of flavor, has a lot of tools, and then honestly plays the game for me a lot differently than a lot of other armies do. So that's why I enjoy GSC. I've always enjoyed GSC, and I can't wait to get them back on the table in 11th edition. So keep on the eye. I'm prepared. I'm ready to go. I just need the rest of the rules. So, guys, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you're just as excited as I am about some Genestealer Cult in 11th edition. And do not forget, victory isn't given. It's forged, and it's forged right here on Mastercrafted.